Hold on. What's going on? We met Commodore Crux and, more importantly, his giant parrot.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's the star of the show, right? Also Maya.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And Kami Crux was down with helping us clown on some space elves.
Mm-hmm. We'll be meeting him again tomorrow morning when he is hopefully sober.
Him and the crew. Him and his homies. Whomever they may be.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we just... We were going to long rest. Am I
Yes,
crazy?
No, we
That
take a
sounds
long
right.
rest on the session.
Yeah.
We're gonna meet Crux in the morning at the Ladybug ship to talk shit about the elves, is what I wrote down.
Yeah. Because
Yeah.
Crux was concerned that there might be people listening and watching,
Mm-hmm.
which I'm assuming for all of you felt a little bit more believable considering the fact that you'd just been essentially jumped by a group of astral elves.
Yes.
Fuck them elves.
He literally walked into the bar with stab wounds from astral elves, and we're like, "Hey, do you know about them?" And he's just like looking at our wounds, like, "Yeah."
Mm-hmm. Like, we fucked them up too. Don't worry. They retreated. We're cool. We swear.
And we also discovered Button's OCD.
That's true. We figured out the easiest way to get Button to like completely disengage with everything or else around them.
Listen, it's kind of hard for them to ignore their programming, okay?
It's going to be really funny at some point whenever we're all like trying to do something and somebody's like, and Button is like, we just need to get away from Button for whatever reason. Someone's like, I got it. They just throw a potted plant across the room, just smash her into the wall, make a huge mess, and be like, Button.
As if Lily wouldn't kill you for doing that.
It's a plastic potted plant.
Plastic hot pot plant.
Yeah, Lily, come on, Lily doesn't care about plastic potted plants, right?
Are you telling me that you are making idols of my people and throwing them at people?
If it would make her feel better, Booker would throw religious idols of people, whether they were made of flesh.
Jesus. Yeah, we get it.
You monster.
And Booker, you're a fucking edgelord.
I don't know if anybody else is hearing this, but Joe, you're breaking up a little bit.
Oh. Give me 2 seconds. I'll
Not for me.
move a little bit.
A little bit for me.
I don't know if it's a mic issue or if it is a connection issue.
It might be a connection issue. Let me move my little sensor thingy. Is it any different?
Yeah, you sound good now.
Nice.
It might have been just like you were just like an inch too far.
Mm-hmm. But you all head back to the Happy Beholder and have yourselves a nice, restful evening. You all get your long rest in. And you guys don't really get a chance to, like, hang out too much in the bar room. At least not when you initially walk in. Because, again, you're cut and bloodied up and bruised and battered. And Luigi does not want blood on his floor, thank you. And essentially forces all of you to immediately go to your rooms and clean up before you are allowed anywhere near a table. But you all get drinks and food and a good long night's rest. And the next morning, you all head off to the docks to the Ladybug ship, the Lady Luck, so that you can have this meeting with Commodore Crux. And again, for those of you that have not been to Brawl before, it's a little strange having to wind through stairwells on the side of the asteroid and into tunnels winding down to the dock itself, where the wood is pushed directly into the very leading edge of the asteroid. And as you come out onto the dock, it's been a few days since you arrived. And though the chaos of bodies on the dock has subsided, the extreme crowding of the dock with just the sheer number of ships of all sizes is still there, very much so. It's a little better, it makes a little bit more sense because most of them seem to be, at least at this relatively early hour for Brawl, seem to be moored to the dock and not moving, not coming or going. But as you walk along the wooden pathway, you can see that there are dozens of ships that are moored to which you're pretty sure they're not even supposed to. Even a few small, what are known as jolly boats, which are the kind of lifeboat type vessels, not meant for long-term travel, usually just tied to the side or trailing behind the larger space galleons. There's a few of them that seem to be just like have thrown a rope over a mast of one ship or another to keep them from floating off, but they clearly don't belong to the ship that they have appropriated as a post. And as you head over to the Lady Luck at the very end of the docks, closest to the dockyard, you can see that just a little further off from where the Lady Luck is, you can see the Nautiloid still moored there, tied loosely to one of what you're pretty sure is a dock that is for the dry dock specifically, not the standard docks for Brawl. And you can see that in the couple of days since you last saw it, it has been cleaned up a little bit. You don't see as much debris on the various decks, and you see that there's even been what looks to be possibly somebody kind of washing down a side of it and uncovering the shell-like exterior a little bit clearer where it was damaged before. What you assume to be various inspections and kind of comb-throughs of the ship that have happened with Captain Elena trying to find a buyer for it. You get to the Lady Luck, it's still sitting there. You see, nobody is there at this hour, though Flumph and Elena have been staying on the Lady Luck for the most part. You know that they are usually fairly early risers, so you assume they have wandered off into the city to find breakfast or to talk to one person or another. And you get onto the Lady Luck, and it doesn't take you too long, or well, I should actually say first, does anybody want to do anything on the Lady Luck before Crux arrives?
Well, I know Booker would want to put his fishing gear away that he has, because he's been carrying that around for most of the day.
Oh, right. I need to put away my planting supplies.
Mm-hmm. You guys can stash all of your newly acquired items. And you see that as you're stashing your items in your rooms, that the Lady Luck has been largely fully stocked at this point. You assume there's probably a few things that have not been delivered to the ship as of yet, but it looks like the larder and everything like that has been filled up again, ready for another long haul. And you, Booker and Liliana would know, Elena is usually not the type of person to go headlong into trouble, And since whatever's going on Toril is very clearly trouble, you guys, between knowing Elena and seeing the amount of supplies that she has on the ship, could very easily assume that she is readying the Lady Luck, at least at the moment, for a long trip away.
We're not expecting her to have a long trip away, are we?
I'm talking about, like, getting, not her leaving the ship, more of, like, taking the ship and being like, yeah, I don't want to deal with whatever the fuck's on Toro. Let's turn it the opposite direction.
Ah, okay. So this is her assuming we can't come up with a good case, and this is the I'm going in this fucking way, this fucking direction plan.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
This is her being like, I can find a job shipping cargo somewhere that takes me as far away from this fuck shit as possible so I don't have to deal with it. But...
Well...
Sorry, go ahead.
No, that's just my reaction, whelp.
So, you stash your stuff away and kind of do a once-over of the ship and wait about 30, 45 minutes before whoever is on the deck at the moment sees Crux making his way down to the very end of the docks. And beside Crux, you see a kind of hunched over Hadozi, who seems to kind of have a odd gait, like he has an old injury of some sort, where he takes one or two seemingly normal steps, but then has to do this like hop skip kind of movement to catch back up fully with Crux, who, though he is very tall as a GIF, is moving slower than you've seen GIF move, yet he's still managing to outpace this Hadozi. And he comes up alongside the Lady Luck, kind of looking it over, and you can see both of them first with this kind of admiration at the ship, and then followed very quickly with kind of critical gazes, very clearly sizing up the Lady Luck. Crux just comes down to the end of the gangway, like hands on his hips. You see the bird on his shoulder. Looks up. Permission to come aboard?
Captain Elena's not here, right?
No.
Okay. Then Booker will just smile really cockily, and he'll like give a quick head nod and be like, "Come aboard. No need to be so formal, but I appreciate it nonetheless." And he'll pretend to tip a hat that's not there.
Crux nods and slowly makes his way up the gangway, followed by the Hadozi. And as he looks around and, kind of counts heads, sees, okay, there's the three that were actually talking to me, and, well, I remember those two from the bar, even if they didn't talk to me. He just kind of dips his head in everybody's kind of general direction, and then just will move an arm and gesture to the Hadozi as they come up beside him. All of you, I'd like you to meet Flinch. Mr. Flinch and I have been sailing together for... God, how long has it been? And Flinch just kind of tilts his head. And for Hadozi, you can see that he probably was by their standards, a very attractive, very fit Hadozi at one point, but he is well into middle age at this point. Oh, I don't know, it's been 30 years at least. And he just kind of nods to everybody, will I'm assuming Booker, as the closest one to the gangway, is the closest one to him. Just kind of reach out a hand to shake. And again, you can see as he reaches out a hand that that's the calluses of a long time sailor.
So he's got like working man calluses kind of
Yeah.
vibe. All right. Booker will shake, give him a firm shake, and then do like a quick appraisal of his own. I'm not sure if this is the thing Booker could actually feasibly do, but can Booker like get a relative idea of how capable this dude is, despite being like having a limp?
Of like relative physical fitness?
Yeah, basically. Because the way like Booker wants to kind of size him up in terms of his physical capabilities. He was probably going to assume that from a mental acuity standpoint, this dude's probably just as good as he'll ever get. He's probably really savvy, but
Roll me.
physically he's only getting older.
Hold on. What's your bonus to your athletics?
Bonus to my athletics, 0. It's 0.
All right, then roll me an insight instead.
Hell yeah. And a 7.
So you look at him and you can tell that this is somebody who has gone through some shit at some point. You can see that there are a couple of scars on his arms, and there's, again, him walking with a limp. And you can even see when he lifts his arm and moves around, all Hadozi kind of have this flap that goes from their wrist to their side that for some of them allows them to kind of glide a little bit. And you could even see kind of patches where there are supposed to be fur that you're assuming it's been some sort of trauma has happened to it, so that there is no longer fur growing in some certain patches and on certain lines. But from the handshake, you at least know he is relatively strong. Maybe not the strongest person you've ever met, but he's got a decent handshake.
Okay. Might not be in his prime anymore, but certainly not that far past it, as far as Booker can tell. Which is good enough for Booker.
And both Button and Trixie would certainly know. Old Hadozi are not anything to, like, shake a stick at as far as Hadozi that claimed to be Spelljammers, because, one of your teachers was an old school, been sailing for a long time Spelljammer. And as the introductions happen, Crux kind of walks along one of the sides of the ship, kind of looking it over. You can see his hand sliding along the railing and reaching out and kind of giving a test tug or two to one line or another, and just nodding to himself before he turns back around and comes back just to lean against one of the railings about midship. And he crosses his arms, and as he does so, you can see the ultra-fat borb that is on his shoulder just start to, like, make its way down his arm sideways until it is close enough to just kind of, with one or two flaps of its wings, hop off onto the railing itself and just settle almost kind of melting down onto the railing as it observes all of you. In Crux, you can see that there is some redness to his eyes, and he has been kind of clearing his throat and kind of thumping his chest once or twice every so often. He is very clearly still dealing with a hangover, but he seems to be as sober as you can hope for a morning after however much he drank to smell like he did yesterday.
It's gonna hit him eventually. There's no avoiding it. He dug his own grave with that one.
And he looks everyone over and just kind of like glances over his shoulder, double checks. You guys are far enough down the docks that there's not really anybody down here. And he kind of nods to himself. Oh. So you all came talking to me about those damned elves. What exactly did you want to know?
Well, first, anything that you're willing to share. Anything about the symbol that they wear on their chest, or if there's any astral elves, who are affiliated with, or any non-astral elves who are affiliated with whatever they're affiliated with. Anyone who's not, or anyone else who's part of their club.
And he nods and seems to kind of think it over for a moment. And as he is kind of processing, Flinch will walk over to a barrel, kind of test it, make sure that there's stuff in it so it doesn't move on him, and just kind of invites himself up to sit on top of the barrel. And just kind of settles down cross-legged and looks at everybody. Well, I can tell you exactly what the symbol is, as you call it. It's their damn astral moth citadel. Crux kind of nods. Most of the Empire lives in a single floating fortress. It's actually in the exact shape that they wear. It's also what they try to emulate with most of their ships. That's why we call them the Astral Moths. And Flinch just kind of snorts. Really should be more like a Astral Lucas.
Nod. So, they don't want people coming out here for... They don't want people laying... you know what? Y'all are... We know that they're... I don't recall specifically, but we talked about the thing that's like rampaging across wild space right now.
I think we told them that we thought that they had something to do with what happened on Toro, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but we've already broached the subject of, that huge weird thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
And again, to be fair, everybody on Brawl knows kind of what is happening to Toril right now.
Mm-hmm.
At least they know of the, like, weird vine things growing up all over the place. They may not know more than that, but they know that there is a big event happening on Toril right now.
Well, given that you shared that with us. It's worth noting that that thing that's kind of rampaging across Toril right now, or presumably rampaging across Toril right now, may have moved on. But that thing, it is symbolized with a moth symbol. Represented by it, or associated with it. Specifically, and Booker will reach into his bag and he'll pull out, I imagine he keeps some form of notebook where he jots important things down if he is so inclined. And he'll have drawn just a vague sketch of some of the stuff from his visions that he had seen. The various visions he'd seen and then the conversations they've had since. And he'll show them the image of the moth that he saw from Celestian.
And you show that to both of them, and they both kind of look it over, and they seem to like kind of recognize, and Flinch will take the notebook back and kind of pull out a pencil from a pocket on his belt, and will kind of underneath that draw a very kind of similar moth shape with a couple of changes, and hand the notebook back to you. Yeah, that's the citadel, right? And Crux kind of sighs. Oh, and at least you can assume that Toral's, I wouldn't say fine, but not turned to ash or whatever it might be. Not yet. As far as I'm aware from the stories, those things need to spread to all of the planets in the system first.
Good to know.
Why does it need to spread to all of them?
Crux just kind of shrugs. Why? I don't know. It's just that the handful of times I've seen or heard about it, nothing happens until all the planets have been infected.
Well, good to know.
Doesn't
Booker
mean that
shrugs her head.
doesn't mean that there's going to be very long before that happens. Yeah, there's maybe a chance that they run into a snag here or there. Imagine Hakatha's going to give them their own problems, but mightier worlds have fallen.
So why would anyone associate with it? Why would these stupid psycho elf bastards team up with something that... I mean, they don't stand to benefit from it, right?
Oh no, they control it. At least
What do you mean they control it?
that's what I think. That's what I assume. And you see kind of Crux looks towards Flinch, and Flinch just kind of gives this a little bit of a shrug. They always seem to show up exactly, well, before those orange vines start sprouting up, so... And they always seem to know where it's going, so if they don't control it, then they have some way of communicating with whatever it is.
How do you figure? Have you seen him try to communicate with it? What is it, some weird ritual shit?
Well, they'd have to know how to communicate with it to know where it shows up. Again, assuming that they aren't the ones controlling it and pointing it.
They could be following it too.
Well, if they were following it, they'd only know where it was. They wouldn't necessarily know where it's going to be. Right?
Besides, crazier people have joined crazier cults for crazier reasons.
True that.
And there's no telling exactly what they can do. That little citadel, he kind of gestures towards the notebook. Not so little. And he gestures towards Brawl.
Booker just rubs the side of his head like he's getting a headache. That's a hell of a thing to find out.
Citadel, Armada, fighters, magic that I haven't seen very often. I don't really know what it is, because only times I have seen it coming from the damn Zarshians.
Well, I'm going to ask if others are shims. I don't think we've heard that word. I don't remember it, at least.
He did name drop the Zarshian Empire last time.
Okay. Yeah.
Because I had to type it.
Sounds about right.
I think you're talking, Piper, but you are very far away.
I remember her saying it because it reminded me of Elder Scrolls.
Is there like a fan in between you and the mic? Because that's kind of what it sounds like.
There's a fan on the opposite side of my mic.
But as he talks about not knowing the magic, Flinch just kind of gives this like one-shouldered shrug. Oh, we know who can help with that. That's if she agrees. And Crux just kind of waves a hand, kind of dismissive, and looks over the group. Your guys are asking a whole bunch of questions about this. I'm assuming that means you actually want to do something about it.
We all have our vested interest, aside from the boring one of wanting to not die and keep all of space relatively around and not eaten.
And
Seems like some of us have some kind of, I don't know, holy mission, I guess. Kind of shrugs.
you get kind of an eyebrow raise from Crux. And he seems to start to open his mouth to say something, think better of it. Not gonna touch that. Well, I'm going to put this all out on the table so that you all know and can see what you're dealing with. The Zarshian Empire has been around longer than any of us have been alive, that's for sure. And they've been doing this just as long. Or nearabouts. I know personally, and have visited, at least 3 crystal spheres where they have come and gone, and there is nothing left. Nothing but dead hunks of rock. However, every time anybody tries to do anything about it, actually manages to find their citadel, actually manages to try and stop them, their armada manages to destroy just about every person and ship that goes against them. This isn't, let's stop the local gang. This is, if you want to join, a war.
Well, for reasons I'm not willing to go into here, I already have a vested interest in joining the war. Good to know what I'm getting myself into. And Booker just like stares into the distance for a second and just does this kind of like half-lidded eyebrow raise where he realizes like, great, this is way more. Maybe it's like a bigger thing than just fighting off something where everyone has a vested interest in it. It's fighting off something that there's going to be active humanoid resistance against, which is going to be such a pain in the ass to deal with. Just raises eyebrows and just goes, so, don't know about the rest of yous, but I'm going to go ahead and guess that we're all on the same kind of page here, as far as that goes.
Nod, 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 nod.
Say what, Lily?
I'm up for busting some more out.
So, turn back to the new guys. Do you know where these guys like to hang out? Somewhere that we could probably get to rough them up a little bit. Squeeze them for information.
So you ask that. First, as you all seem to, like, agree to joining this fight, there is a noticeable kind of relaxation and flinch, and a little bit of kind of brightness to Crux. They both seem to one degree or another, be either relieved or pleased that you guys are saying you were going to join this. And as you turn to kind of like ask about a place to go after these elves, Crux is already kind of pushing himself up straight and seems to be looking around like he's almost like he's trying to figure out something to do. He's looking for a purpose or a task, or trying to come up with purposes and tasks. There are wheels turning in his head that you have not seen turning. And as you ask about the elves, Crux kind of pauses and tilts his head, and you see him kind of look towards Flinch, and the two of them are kind of going through that mental Rolodex, looking through the filing cabinets in the brain. And Flinch finally kind of turns this palm upward in this kind of gesture as he starts to speak. I don't really know where they're gonna be here, but there's a good chance that if you're looking for the handful that got left here, they're probably beyond your reach. There's a couple of Rygars and palaces in the high city. That's from the scuttlebutt going around the rock are the ones that managed to convince the prince and the guard and all of our forces to just stay away. That's if they aren't hiding down in the tunnels.
Hmm.
And Crux kind of nods. There's more than one higher up in the city that have, in one way or another, been turned to be sympathetic to the Zarshian Empire. I don't know what they're getting, what they've been promised, but anytime those elves come sniffing around and stay for any length of time or leave anybody here, they always seem to be tucked away somewhere.
Well, let me pose another question to you. Since we can't really get to them, it's worth noting that you were there after we came in. You saw us, having been jumped by them. What are the odds that we get jumped again? You think? Just spitballing it. Because if we get jumped again, we could maybe bring one of them back with us.
That depends on how badly they looked compared to you. And, to be fair, if you're wanting to do something, especially if you're wanting to do something in time to keep Toro in one piece, waiting around, hoping that you get jumped again is, frankly, a waste of time.
Well, look to the rest of the group. Or the crew. We have two courses of action. One would be to try and chase these guys down. And I just happen to know of a way we could get to the other side of Brawl. And maybe fuck around there and see if we couldn't find something out. But the other option we had was a little visit to a location. What do you all know about Doom Space?
Button's attention. Laser focused.
As you mention Doom Space, both Crux and Flinch seem a little surprised. And there's just this, like, from Flinch, a tilt of the head and almost a note of suspicion on his face, while there's just this kind of, like, mischievous, how the fuck did you know type smile that spreads on Crux's. Who told you about Doom Space?
Garcia from the corner waves her hand. Holy mission.
Also the process of elimination.
But mostly Holy Mission.
Also the process of elimination.
It's just looks at Button and then just shakes his head. Like, nope, don't.
But it's just like, I looked through so many fucking maps to find it was Doomspace, motherfucker. You didn't have a name from your holy mission. I found the name.
And there's again this confusion and a mouth opening very slowly to be like, what? And Flinch this time sees that happening with Crux, and very quickly you can tell starts talking to cut him off. And it just kind of leans forward, like one hand on, like propped up on one knee. Oh, wait, that's exactly where we need to be going. And he kind of gestures between himself and Crux. We have some contacts and old friends. Have gone out into various crystal spheres, and we've been gathering as many people as we can to try and create a force that might be able to do something about the Zarshians. At least a force might be able to distract them long enough to actually get into the Citadel for the first time.
Do we know anything about the Citadel?
Other than it's shaped like a moth, no.
Okay.
Other than it's shaped like a moth, and it's implied to be very, very big, since he gestured to Brawl.
Yeah. Well, I hate that I'm suggesting this, but if you happen to need a suicide crew, you're looking at them. Suicidal crew.
I think motivated sounds more positive.
I agree with that, Trixie. I do not think that is the right word for this.
Just a very nervous little from Micken at the back of the group.
At least, from what I understand, most of us would prefer to continue.
Potato.
Just very courageous.
And Crux just kind of like listens to this and tilts his head. I don't know exactly if we're going to need that yet or not, but having one that's willing to volunteer is certainly a good thing. So, if you're on a holy mission, he kind of like trails off very much like, again, I want to ask, but I shouldn't ask. Kind of looking over at Trixie and looks back to everybody else. That's already sending you to Doom Space. Well, I don't suppose you could use a couple more crew members. He gestures between himself and Flinch. We can send you right to an old friend that, as last we heard at the very least, is kind of heading up the little armada that we're trying to grow there, or at least entering into negotiations.
More the merrier, right?
Helps. Yeah, anyone we could get piled in on this would be better odds.
And he nods. And he kind of looks over to Flinch. Flinch seems to like nod in agreement with y'all, but then you see his eyes kind of drift past all of you towards the nautiloid. And he kind of tilts his head. Did I hear right that you all brought that in? He kind of points towards the nautiloid.
Yep.
That would be correct.
I have notes if you would like to research what we found.
And kind of rubs his chin for a moment and hops off of the barrel and kind of walks across the deck to the far railing so that he can like get another couple feet closer, and he's kind of examining it. What exactly were you all planning on doing with it?
Well, we were planning on turning a quick buck with it, and then taking the ladybug, and using that as our little bit of spelljamming temporary fixins until we find something maybe better than it.
And Flinch just kind of nods, and he's quiet for a moment. And he turns back, looks everybody over. I don't really know what your situation is on this ship or anything like that, but if all of you are willing, as you say, to go on a suicide mission for the Citadel when the time comes, then you might be crazy enough to do something else. And he kind of rests his hands on his hips. If you're okay with missing out on the quick buck, as you call it, those things are damn near battering rams. Kind of jerks a thumb over his shoulder back towards the nautiloid. If you got somebody that can stay here and fix her up, make a pretty damn good flagship for an attack.
Out of character, Joe wants flagship nautiloid. Booker will look to
Same.
the crew and kind of shrug like, I think we've got a pretty good chunk of spending cash between the lot of us. If you're
Some
willing
of
to
us
part with
do.
it. Hey, I'm philanthropic.
And above table, I'll just go ahead and let y'all know, from this point forward within the adventure, there is kind of a build your armada, build your navy aspect to it. That, depending on who you do or do not recruit, what ships you do or do not recruit, how many survive different things to be recruited, will change some of the outcomes in the final battle should you get there. Because it will change your armada versus theirs.
Holy shit.
This really feels like Mass Effect 3, and I'm here for it.
Yes, that is so, like, that's what I'm hoping. That's what I want so badly.
Above table, like, this is a good ship. The nautiloid, like, they're pretty rare, right?
Yes.
Mhm.
From my understanding.
Well, they're rare for anybody that's not a mind flayer or controlled by a mind flayer to have, yes. There's a lot of them in the
Exactly.
galaxy, it's just usually anybody that's not a mind flayer either ends up a slave or ends up dead if they see one.
You know, your standard fare.
Now, I want to be clear on what he is suggesting here, so everybody is aware above table. He's not saying that, like, at the moment, everybody stay on Brawl until the ship is fixed, because that will take too much time.
Yeah, he's suggesting, like, hey, if you can get someone to repair it, then you go out and do your, like, work on it while you're off gallivanting.
Mm-hmm.
And then come back to a repaired flagship. That would be dope.
So essentially, Booker has to convince Elena.
Yes.
Good luck.
That is the next thing, is like, hey, Captain, not only are we going to take the ship, we're also going to not sell that one. Hear me out. We're going to do a superhero thing really quick. By really quick, I mean a few weeks.
Probably months, actually. Maybe a year.
It's a holy mission. It's a holy
It's
mission.
a holy mission.
It's
for the
it's
greater
a
good.
holy mission.
Are you really gonna go against the gods? Like, come on.
I feel like Lena would just deadpan say yes. Yes, she would.
Booker is like, he's liking the idea, like, you know, kind of do want to keep the Nautiloid. And then slowly the realization dawns on him, and he's like, gonna have to sell this to Captain, huh? Well, I don't know how the fuck to do that without killing her. And I don't want to kill her. Or Flapjack. Don't want to kill him either. How would you, just asking the two, Commodore Crux and the Hidozi,
Flinch.
just like, Flinch, thank you. Just like, how would you happen to have convinced a person to get on board with this batshit idea?
And you ask that, and there's like this like kind of half laugh from Flinch. Which part?
Well, so full disclosure, this is not our ship. This ship belongs to Captain Elena, and technically, so does the Nautiloid. Which kind of puts us in a little bit of a shit spot. I like your idea, though. You don't happen to know someone who'd be willing to fix this up for us while we're off doing our thing, do ya?
And Flinch and Crux kind of look at each other, and there's both of them, again, you can see the wheels turning a little slower in Crux's head, a little faster in Flinch's. And Crux kind of shakes his head slightly. Oh, I can always go through one of the barons, but that's a shitstorm you don't want to stir up. And Flinch shakes his head too. Yeah, that's not gonna be good for anybody and just take too long. I mean, if you just tell Elena that that the Nautiloid is hers, yeah, looks like this is a cargo hauling ship, right? He kind of gestures around. Well, depending on how good all of you are with your words, could always just try to, I don't know, go for the pride. Paint a nice picture of one of the only humanoids to ever captain a Nautiloid. I can name on one hand all the people I've even heard of, let alone know actually captained a Nautiloid.
Well, that's one way of doing it. You know,
That just sounds nicely.
Booker just looks at Trixie.
What? It's an option.
Just rubs his head again, kind of rubbing and massaging his temple, and just goes, "That is an option. You are correct. I'm gonna go ahead and say we'll do our best with that one, but I like that plan. So we'll keep in touch about trying to find an engineer or someone who can repair it while we're off doing our thing, recruiting people, building up some additional cronies to help with this, sphere-ending threat."
Crux kind of nods. Oh, if you, can't talk Elena into letting you have this ship and want to tag along, I do know of another captain that might be crazy enough to let us charter a ship to Doomspace. But charter would be the key word to that.
I have a question, Z.
Yes.
On, in terms of getting a Spelljammer to sail, is there, a key or key fob or identity thing or some MacGuffin you have to have to activate it so that someone sits in the chair and can fly it away?
For certain vessels, yes, but that's very rare.
For this ladybug, would Captain Elena be holding on to the car keys, so to speak?
No, this is a basic ass spelljamming helm, so there is nothing fancy about it. You just have to be a caster. However, there is such a thing as
joyriding.
there is such a thing as mutiny and piracy still in Spelljammer.
It's not mutiny or piracy if we bring it back.
It's borrowing.
It's not. It's just borrowing, and it's just borrowing. We'll leave a note. But Booker doesn't say anything. But he is nodding.
Dear
and then
Captain
he looks at the
Elena,
ladybug.
we took the ladybug. We really think you'd be a good captain to the Nautiloids. Please fix it up and bring it to this location.
Yeah, by the way, the location's in Doomspace.
There is also the option of just trying to convince her that fixing up the Nautiloid before selling it would make it worth more, so that at least delays having to convince her to, keep it. Do the whole oh, if you fix it up, it'll be worth more. But then once it's fixed up, it's like, oh, you put so much effort into getting it fixed. It'd be a real shame.
Booker is going to hold up a finger to Flinch and Crux and be like, "We need to convene really quick. Group huddle." He'll do a little circle spin with his fingers. He's like, "You two," and grab Micken by the collar and be like, "You're coming."
Just surprised yelp, but no protest.
Booker will collect, try to create a circle and collect everyone, hoping that they will all agree.
To a huddle? Group huddle? Good luck with Button and Lily in this group huddle.
Well, Lily's
See-
on Booker's shoulder.
Extra good luck with Button. Button's at fucking knee level with everyone.
Just have
Just looking
Trixie,
Yeah.
fucking pick up Button.
Yeah, she has 4 arms. The other 2 arms are a seat for Button.
I just
Trixie
imagine
is
like
amused.
like when someone has like a big cat and they like hold it in front of them by like lacing their fingers together, just holding the cat by like the chest. You know,
Mhm.
I just imagine that's what Trixie does with the button, just like unprompted. Button is just like stands up to like join the huddle and just starts looking up, and then Trixie just fucking scoop, and Button is just dangling there now.
Trixie gives Button their pride. They're sitting on her hands. That's all.
I don't know what is worse.
But assuming that everyone agrees to the group huddle, Booker will like one arm around Micken's shoulder and then one arm around Trixie's shoulder to kind of make the triangle. And we'll be like, all right, here's the play. We're going to try to talk to Captain Elena. We're going to try to figure out if she's on board with our insane plan here to go after this fucking moth harbinger of the end of times or whatever. Flying into doom space, all that, using Ladybug. And we're going to try to sell her on whether or not she should be the captain of the helm and the charge against it in the Nautiloid once it's repaired. But if she doesn't go for it, I'm going to draft up an apology note and we're just going to steal the Ladybug. There.
You immediately get a choking noise from Micken.
Wow. And I thought you were a loyal crewmate.
I'm a loyal crewmate. But I've also promised someone who's a lot more intimidating than a captain that I would do some shit, and they promised me goodies in return.
Fair point.
Piper,
We
we
cannot
cannot hear you.
Piper.
Still nothing.
All we hear is your fan.
Mm-hmm.
Which is
I
weird.
don't even hear the sound. I just hear in the distance a sound.
This fan is just blowing against the mic, and that's all I hear. Nothing still.
Oop. Piper, come back.
Piper, come back.
Oh.
Do you hear that your roommate is still alive, Iris?
I don't hear anything wrong. I'm hearing back.
Honestly, I really want to just steal the ship without asking. Or
No.
without asking her if she'll join and just leave the note and be like, hey, thanks for the ship. Here's our plan. Knew you'd agree to it. Love you, bye.
That's how you get shot next time you're on planet.
That's how you get the Nautiloid to yes show up, but not the way you're hoping.
Yeah.
Listen, if Booker is going to like brand himself as a lovable scamp, this is how you start. You gotta be scamp before you can be lovable.
It briefly crossed my mind of like, oh, we could just steal it. I'm like, nah, no one would agree to that.
You forget, this is not the space game where I am playing a goody two-shoes Boy Scout.
This is the other space game.
It's funny that Z is DMing both space games.
Cause space is cool,
good.
man.
Space is cool.
Space good.
Okay, I actually should be right back to see what's my own Piper. Okay, back.
Okay. I'm just imagining the scenario of just like, yeah, thanks for the ship.
The
You'd be
heroic,
such a good Nautiloid captain.
yeah, just the moment when the armada is gathering, and then there's the heroic music start playing as the Nautiloid shows up, and there's Helena on the helm. Oh no, the music has turned to horror music as the Nautiloid starts firing on the armada instead.
It goes from a major chord, really uplifting, shifting to a minor chord,
Mm-hmm.
and just some really good tense dissonance
I knew you'd
as the
see it
chord
our way.
stretches out, as it shifts to point towards us.
Hey, wait, why don't you turn the guns on us? And that's where the posh NPC we have just goes, I believe she's going to fire on us, sir. Man, I really like this idea, though.
Please talk to her first, for the love of God. Do not give her
We'll
a
talk to her.
ultimate weapon
We'll talk to her.
and just blatantly steal without talking to her first.
Oh man, but I really want to steal.
We need the Nautiloid on our side.
Coming back.
Welcome back.
So, Piper is not feeling so hot because she hasn't slept.
Oh.
And she got really frustrated with the audio issues, so she pressed her judgment.
Okay then. So, huddle. We return to the huddle.
So Booker throws that idea out there, and we hear a very intense, or very, very loud gulp yelp from Micken. And then what was Trixie saying?
I don't remember.
It was
What
like,
did Booker
I
say?
thought
What was
you
the
were loyal.
proposal?
Oh yeah, I thought you were a good crewmate. Loyal crewmate.
I think Booker said something like, I'm a loyal crewmate. But I also promised.
Yeah, more
someone...
intimidated by somebody other than Elena right now.
Yeah.
Who also
intimidated
promised
by
him
someone
goodies.
Yeah.
Okay.
Look to button. Thoughts?
I think this plan could work. However, the plan B might have consequences we would not look forward to.
Well, nobody ever looks forward to consequences.
Some
Just
consequences
deal with them.
can be good. You aim for the good consequences.
Yeah, I don't think Elena's that bad. If we ask real nicely, maybe give her a bit of collateral, maybe she'll be on board, you know?
Yeah. Maybe.
Button stops and like blinks, and Z could like Button just like over like the weeks of like sailing, could Button just fucking vibe check Elena of like what does she know about Elena?
Elena is a pretty experienced and knowledgeable spelljammer. She is very seemingly business oriented for the most part.
Mm.
She is, while she is very clearly not thrilled at the idea of getting involved in things that she has no reason to get involved in, she is also not incapable. Again, she was planning on dealing with those fucking thugs at the docks on the planet. Just her and Flumph. She was squared up against them without any issue. So either that was a very, very good bluff, or she is more capable than she sometimes acts. I don't know what other vibe you're wanting from her.
No, we haven't seen her in so long.
Mm-hmm.
I just had to reorient my brain. I'm just like no wait, Button just saw her, you know?
Yeah. I mean, she is a, from just being under her, like flying under her, she is fairly kind of easygoing so long as shit is getting done correctly. And like a decent captain. Booker and Liliana would know that she is like, she lets everybody kind of do what they're going to do so long as they're doing what they have to do and are supposed to do for the ship first.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, and in a way, stealing the ship is technically for the ship.
Oh boy. Alright, thank you very much for this little aside, Z.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Button just kind of just like tilts their head as they look just up.
Mika just kind of like see him like nervously, like fingers like twisting a little bit of his robe. You are very confident that she's not going to shoot you.
Well, she might shoot at me, but she won't kill me.
I don't know if that's better or worse.
Any situation in which I live is better.
Even if that means she does other things? She can do other things than just shoot you.
Booker stops to think for a second, and just goes, like, remembering his own words to Button earlier, and closes his mouth.
Not that I'm like against stealing a ship or for it or anything, but wouldn't it be better to steal from someone we don't know rather than a friend? Because, you know, easier to make enemies out of enemies.
Again,
Or it's better to make enemies out of enemies.
This is not stealing. This is borrowing without asking permission and bringing it back later. She knows us. We have good rapport with her. We'll bring it back and no harm, no foul. But
Stealing.
again, this is only if things go wrong when we're trying to sell her on the idea. Which we'll do in a bit.
Oh. You know what? I'll agree to this on one condition.
Booker just raises an eyebrow.
Maxine grins and like pats Booker on the back a little hard. You'll be the new captain. So you'll be the one in trouble if this goes to hell.
Well, scratches the chin. Do kind of like the name. Do kind of like the ring of captain. I could be done with that. Besides, she likes me. What are the odds it goes poorly?
Eh,
I mean, Captain
I
Elena
can
doesn't know us
calculate
very
them.
well.
If you would like, I can calculate the odds if you would like.
Booker just kind of frowns for a second and thinks, you know, don't know if I want you to calculate those.
Micken just kind of like takes this deep breath, holds it for a second, lets it out very slowly. Oh, I guess if she decides to throw all of us out for mutiny or something like that, at least we're someplace we can survive and find another ship.
How's his thinking?
I'm
Points to Micken.
trying very hard.
Getting a lot better at that.
Oh.
Well, I think that talking to her is a good idea first. And the not stealing is a plan B.
Plan B.
And if we do end up stealing, the three of us were sleeping down below deck when this happened. Points to Micken, her, and Button.
I do not sleep.
You're busy.
I was busy.
I mean, I don't sleep either, so I mean, point.
We were busy.
Yeah, we were organizing your notes.
My notes are already organized.
Oh, God.
You know, you can always double check.
Looks like it's you and me. Puts a hand on Micken's back.
Oh.
Shame that abandoned you like that. Don't worry, I'll be here
What?
for you. Pats him on the back harder.
Micken was sleeping. Puts arm around Micken.
He was sleeping. We were organizing the notes. You were having plans.
I should have
Pulls Micken
stayed.
closer.
I should have stayed at the academy.
No,
Oh.
So, meeting adjourned. We're all in agreement.
It's good to me.
We need to go talk to Elena. If we can, and Booker will pull out of the circle and turn back to Crux and Flinch and say, if we can borrow you for a bit of a meet and greet, you could probably help us to sell this idea to our captain. Or at the very least, make us look less crazy. Make our plan look a little bit more cohesive.
Well, if he gets another couple of decent hands towards the cause, then I don't see why meeting with this captain wouldn't be something we could do. And Flinch
Perfect.
kind of nods. And you would know that, like, the easiest way to get to Elena is Elena does eat dinner at the Happy Beholder every evening.
Cool. Booker strokes his chin for a second and just goes, I know where we can find her, too. Come on, we gotta
What
wait
her
to walk.
favorite meal?
Well, you got a day to kind of waste to do a couple of things.
Yeah, if you could, we still want to check out the what's the underground or something like that. I mean, I'm still waiting on my weapon.
Yep.
True.
Y'all's weapons will be done tomorrow. Elena will be, you can try to find her in the city if you want, but she is going to be at the Happy Beholder for dinner.
Okay. Then what else is on our docket aside from checking out the underground? The undercity tunnels or whatever.
The opposite side of the
Wicked
rock,
spells?
remember, the opposite side of the rock is highly illegal for all of you to
Yep.
be at.
I do remember that.
There are tunnels throughout Brawl. However, they are largely unmapped and are essentially implied as you don't go there unless you know where you're going. And then there is as far as other things I know you guys were talking about of just like level the Micken. Top side is the other thing that you guys might want to do before you lose the chance.
Oh, gotta level the Micken.
Mm-hmm. Who's got to pick up our weapons?
Tomorrow.
Mm.
Tomorrow.
No late night stealing the ship tonight. Button will not fly the ship. Button will make Micken not fly the ship either.
Booker has spells now, doesn't he?
Oh yeah, so
This is why it's all on him.
Booker did technically have spells since his inception. It's just not a lot of spell slots to go around. Because, Warlock. But now he's got a few more. So, upshot. Either way, though, if we're waiting for our weapons to get done, then do we want to level the Micken?
yes. I say level the Micken. Micken is an investment.
And he is a wizard. You literally only get out of a wizard what you put in. You get what you give.
Yeah, so it just like standard, you will have to sink the gold into the gold and the time into letting Micken copy into his spell book. So it is on y'all as to how much gold and time you're willing to let Micken have.
I mean,
what's the Micken budget?
I'm down to give Micken more or less however much we would give to one of each other or to any one of us.
Mm-hmm. Same.
Fair.
Mm-hmm.
So let me pull this up really fast because I don't know why I closed it. I've already shared Micken's current spell book. I'm gonna read this really fast.
It's like, what are the prices for spells and stuff? Is there like a standard?
Yes, there is. I am rereading it just to make sure that I am saying the right things. Give me a second.
Okay.
So, let me also pull up Micken's character sheet. So Micken can currently cast on his own up to 3rd level. So
Yo.
he can, it takes, for each level of spell that is learned, it'll take 2 hours and 50 gold. So if you're wanting a 3rd level spell, that will take 6 hours and 150 gold.
Okay. We also got to keep in
You
mind that it has to be a spell Micken would be willing to use. I don't think he's going to be able to chuck a fireball.
I listen. I think it would be. You saw the D&D movie. It's a character growth moment. We give him the fireball ability, and then he uses it in the clutch moment when he fully gives in to his desire to kill. Character
Dude,
growth.
we already have an AoE problem with this group. This
Yeah, but we
particular
won't have an
party.
AoE we won't have an AoE problem with Micken. We'll have an AoE solution, but only at the very end.
Oh my god.
It is...
Um,
Micken is going to, in some ways, I think, function as y'all's utility. So any spells like that you think might be useful, that you want to be like, hey, I would like Micken to like always have this prepared. You guys can do that. Unfortunately, because he is a wizard at the moment, because I'm not fucking around with wizard healing spells at the moment, he doesn't really have a whole bunch of healing that he can do. I am always going to, at level ups, if I see some spells that he is just now getting access to, or he doesn't yet have access to, or he doesn't yet have in his spell book that he has access to, that I think are really essential, I'll go ahead and throw them in. Or otherwise, he is going to automatically essentially get flight, levitate, like wind and thunder based spells as the things he's naturally going to learn. And those are also the things that he is going to be much faster and happier to use.
Isn't there an air bubble spell? Or something like that?
Yes. And he does have
could
it.
be useful.
Good.
There you go.
He already has it. I know, considering this party with healing, catnap might be useful.
True. Would agree that catnap could actually see some pretty good use in this group.
And I will say that if you don't care for Micken to be involved in the evening discussion with Elena, he will be more than happy to spend 12 hours in the library and just come back really late.
All right, we got you a gift card for the bookstore. Don't spend it all on one book.
So that's,
Got you a Barnes & Noble's gift card.
that's 6 levels worth of spells. It's divided up
boy.
however you want.
I do like that.
Either 2 first, 3rd levels, or just fucking fuck ton of first levels. He already has Featherfall. That's always a good thing to have. So you say he's always going to want to default and lean towards all the air themed stuff, right?
Yes, because that is part. He is an aeromancer as his specialty, as his school. So he automatically gets a lot of the air themed stuff anyway, and that's just the stuff he is like in character naturally more gifted with. So he's going to be faster to use them.
Earthbind might also be good. It's very situational, though.
Earthbind is probably really good, provided since only Trixie can fly, and Booker and Button are melee. Earthbind could would be a pretty good one. Obviously haste, obviously slow, both very good. And
Hold on. Let's
neither
write
of
all
them
this down.
yeah, neither of those upset Micken's sensibilities to non-violence, or not even non-violence, more just like non, like very very intense violence.
I'm just scrolling through this, like all of the things, and just seeing like what pops out to me that Micken would use, because I don't want to give him a fireball and he's just never going to use it.
There are a lot of really good third levels.
Mm-hmm. Third level is where casters start to pop off.
Yeah.
I would also, I would also think we should look at some second level ones that he could probably get some good mileage out of, because there's a couple in there that are pretty solid.
And I will also remind you that because he is behind you by level, he can cast third levels, but he only has 2 slots. So remember, he has 4 first levels, 3 second levels, and 2 third levels as far as what he can cast in a day, or at least without the opportunity to use his wizard feature.
What level is Catnap?
3rd.
Damn it. Still good, but damn it.
Yeah. Lucy thinking.
Second level. Let me see. I need to look at the Micken spell list.
I'm also looking at the button spell list to make sure, like, since button.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
What spells do I have?
Or if there's any that you think might be interesting to combo with some of your things.
True. Oh, Windwall would be fun. Does he get access to that?
I would bet money he does. Oh, even with his like a wind subclass?
Let me check. Let me look at it.
Because like Button could grab that.
Very on brand.
It would be on brand. I feel like it'd be good utility too.
Subclasses. Let's see. Levitation. Jump and featherfall. Fly. And weightlessness. No, so he does not get a wind wall naturally with his class.
And Button could grab it. I wonder if there's anything that would pair well with that.
Just a suggestion. I don't know if anyone can get it or not. But very, very niche. Start value could be useful in this campaign.
True. True enough.
Very true.
And also remember there is the homebrew list.
Fuck!
Ah, fuck.
Alright. I'm going to assign homework to one of you to do the homebrew stuff.
I have been telling you guys to look at fucking what you want to do with Micken for like 2 months now.
Listen, I don't like reading things.
I looked at the normal wizard stuff because homebrew stuff is I have to scroll up and down and up and down.
Up and down and up and down. It's so hard.
So
and by that I mean it takes a bit of effort, which I don't have.
Okay.
I don't have tools for.
Okay, did we have that one special healing spell that everyone in the party has?
Close wounds?
That one, yes. Can we agree there?
I don't know that wizards have the ability to get that one.
Okay.
There might be one healing spell that wizards get that he might have access to.
Oh my god. I don't remember.
Okay. So,
This one.
hate to do this, but are we going to need Micken spells this section? Friends.
No, I don't think so. At least I don't foresee us needing any of his spells immediately.
Do
Do
we
you-
want to continue
think
the
so.
session?
Do
Yeah,
you
I'd
need
say-
them immediately? No, but also, you fuckers. I also don't
can
want to
do
get
it
a
right
list. I also don't want a list of spells like 10 minutes before next session either.
We do it right after session. Can we agree on this, friends?
Can you do it right after session?
Is anyone busy after session?
Nope.
Yes, I have to play a video game.
No,
Shut
you
up.
don't. So I
But
say,
gotta. Sorry.
Can you at least be in call?
Yes.
where else is he gonna
fine.
be?
Okay.
Okay.
You have had a
Wait a minute,
month
I'm
off,
offended.
sir.
Your attendance is required.
What do you mean? Where else is he gonna be? I have places I could be. I'm hip.
Okay, so can we say that he spent 12 hours at the library, he got 6 levels worth of spells,
Mm-hmm.
and then after a session today, we all sit down and figure it out.
Then also, hold on. Let me do this really fast. I'll need, if you're wanting him to get full 6 levels worth of spells, that's 600 gold off. For the walking bank over there.
So looking at the piggy bank.
It's like at the one person with money. Is that within budget? What's the Micken
600
budget?
gold?
Mhm.
I think that's well within budget. Let me see how much stuff Booker's got in his inventory here. Yeah, that is Booker has 1615 gold.
Mhm.
So that is easily within, I think, our collective budget, because we'd still have a good 1,000 gold or more between all of us after that.
Yeah. I feel like there are certain NPCs that have just become party members. Micken is one of them. Marcus is the other one.
Also,
True.
I show you because I have.
Oh?
No. Come here. That is the Mage's Guild Hall.
Yo, we drop him off with a gift card.
Damn.
Drop him off of the gift card, and he's like, "What?" And then grabs it and pulls, and it doesn't let go. And Booker's just like, "Don't waste it," and then let's go.
Pat, we'll be back to
Spend
pick you up later.
wisely.
We'll pick the Booker up. Not the Booker. We'll pick the Micken up later. Drop him off.
Don't forget to use your coupons.
We pack you a lunch.
Good luck reacquiring him at the end.
I mean, he's gonna run out of money, so
To write into his spell book does not mean that he is going to run out of things to read.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm just gonna put it in chat. We have sent the Micken to the Mages Guild Hall with a gift card.
yeah. So this way we're not rushing, and we all get, fair input.
Mm. So,
I am a very slow reader personally.
is there anywhere else, anything else that you guys want to do before meeting Elena at the Happy Beholder?
I think I'm satisfied.
I think I am too.
Is
'Cause
there
the only
any more
thing.
shopping?
Is there what?
What's up?
I was wondering if there's any more shopping or anything we needed to do.
Oh, there's so much shopping that you can do. But,
Shopping trip?
God, no.
Shopping.
No.
Shopping trip?
You just said that we could.
No, we're done. We're done shopping.
You
So I
fucked
think-
up. You fucked up.
No, we're not shopping.
Oh,
Give the Z a break.
I'm trying to wrap up, Brawl.
okay.
God damn it! If you go to another shopping trip, that bumps Elena even further away.
Yeah. It feels weird to just waste a day, you know?
yeah. I mean, I guess we should just go talk to Elena because I think
Mhm.
that
You
like
can
right now
also-
there's a lot of
I'm just going to really quick throw this out there. You guys can also, you don't have to RP it out, but if you're wanting to actually have the characters do something through the day, you can have them either sticking around the Mages Guild Hall or go back to the Library of Spheres to, like, learn things.
Yes. Bonding time.
Could we? Is there anything we could craft?
Oh, that's true. I
Mm-hmm.
mean,
Or
Button's working
start
on that.
craft?
Yeah, and there's
Button
things
just
that you
continued to
have
float.
tasks for. You can just say that you spend the day doing those to further them.
Mm-hmm.
Do I have?
Okay.
Where are my crafting skills and whatnot? I need tinker's tools to craft weapons, right? Or smithing? do I
Depends on the weapon that you are trying to craft. Because if you go to... scrolling through Discord... The table rules... I just posted about the skill learning the other day, but if you scroll up a little bit, there's what tools and kits can be used for. So you can see what general thing, like poison making or potion making or weapon or armor crafting, and if you're like, I only really want to do this thing, then tell me and I can tell you which of that particular list you can use to craft that thing.
I have my Mind Flayer tentacle that I want to turn into a dagger.
Okay. So for daggers, that's going to go into the magical weapon crafting and upgrading. That is going to generally be for a dagger. If you have a base like the tentacle, I'll say that you can use it with Tinker's tools. If you're wanting to create a like dagger completely from scratch, it's going to require smith tools.
Okay. I do have proficiency with Tink tool. Let me see.
Buy pretty much all of the tools.
We have owned or we have a lot of the tools like purchased right now.
Mm-hmm. It's just a matter of, do you have the proficiency to use the tools that you're needing to use?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and Booker has proficiency with Tinker tools and alchemist supplies.
And I will just say that at this point, because we've had enough people come and go that we're supposed to have access to certain things, and then they spent money to get those things and everything, that you on the either on your person or on the ship somewhere, there is essentially every type of tool. So you guys don't have to like worry about buying any more of them.
You just have to worry about proficiencies.
Yeah, you just have to worry about proficiency, but you can learn a proficiency that you don't have. You just gotta spend the time on it.
Yeah. I mean, I just want Button to slowly hack away with that cloak.
So you just want Button to spend one more day on the cloak to take that down?
Yep. 11 out of 30 days now. Because once it's done, it's going to be 1,000 gold, which is big money. It takes a long time. They're working very hard on it. Made with love. Do they know what love is? I don't know.
And Booker's going to work on Tentacle Dagger? Okay.
That is correct.
Does Trixie do anything?
Thinking.
Because if we don't have like an actual project, you could start learning the skill.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking about doing.
So if you can either use a book, like go to the library to like pick up a book to learn a skill, or since the two of them are actively working on a project, you can either learn Tinker's tools from Booker or what are you using? Weaving kit?
I don't know. You just told me I could make it. You never gave me specifics.
Can you screenshot your proficiencies for me really fast? I don't feel like pulling up my other sheet because I don't know where it is at the moment. Yeah, technically... Yeah, it'll let you finish the cloak, but you need to learn Weaver's Kit before you can make another one. I hadn't finalized a couple of things when I said you could, I think.
Yeah, because I got this like months ago.
Yeah.
I've been slowly working on this.
Yeah, you could finish it, but before you can make another one, you have to learn Weaver's.
Okay, let me put that in here so I don't forget.
I have a question for you, Z.
Yes.
Would I potentially learn a language by annoying one of my roommates?
Yes.
Cool.
You can learn a language from any of the crewmates. You guys would just essentially be, or you can start learning a language, I should say. You guys would essentially just be conversing in that language for most of the day, back and forth. And you look at the skill learning stuff that I posted, that it will kind of, you have to get to a certain number of points to unlock the language, and you can roll to see how many points you require.
Hey, Booker, mind if I borrow that weird book you have?
I'm using it. Piss off.
What are you using it for? They're working on the dagger right now, I think.
Well, now that you reminded me that I have it, I am going to be using it.
Let me borrow it. Come on. We're not using it right now.
Well, I am using it now. I changed my mind. I'm not working on the dagger. I'm reading my book.
Okay. Okay. Trixie will loom over his shoulder. So what does that mean? What's that say?
Oh my god.
Ooh, what's that? That word looks really long. What does that mean?
Just
That also means that Booker's going to have to put on his tiny glasses.
turns away. Turns away again. Turns away a third time.
Put on the glasses, put on the glasses.
He absolutely would not do that. He would refuse to put on the glasses around her.
What's that say?
You know,
Booker, what does that say?
I'm gonna set this book
Come
on
on.
fire before I give it to you.
Aw, why would you do that? I'm just taking an interest.
Let me read it first.
Why? But I want to read it too. Read it to me. Come on. I'm a very quick learner.
Not quick enough. Make him read this fucking book to you. He will begrudgingly read it out loud to Trixie. But he will, instead of working on the dagger, do that.
Okay. So I believe I've said that was in deep speech.
Yes.
So, Booker has a proficiency in deep speech.
Mm-hmm.
So that means that Trixie, in order to see how many points you acquire, you need 18 to say that you are proficient in the language.
Yeah.
You can make an intelligence or a wisdom check, adding proficiency if you have. So essentially, if you have, like, I think monks have a proficiency and a wisdom save.
No, they do not.
Ah. So
What?
either
That sounds wrong.
an intelligence or a wisdom check. And you can
Okay.
do that at advantage because Booker is teaching you effectively.
So do I just click the saving throw? Correct?
Yeah, that you can do it that way.
Gotcha. Wait, wait. Where is it? Where is it? Yes, I have dice. I have dice.
This is true. You have Trixie die.
Oh,
I have
yeah.
Trixie dice.
Trixie dice.
Yes. Where's my D20? Where it is?
That reminds me. Has Joe got the thing yet?
I did. It's really cool. I need to get the coin from my car, but I'm going to put it in there.
That is
Let
a
me see
5.
which.
Oh no.
And
What's your
you
bonus?
said advantage?
Yes.
Yes.
That's a 14.
With your bonus added on it?
No. Bonus
bonus?
is 4. So
it's
18.
18. Okay, so that means that you get 2 points. So you're at 2 out of 18.
Nice.
I might fuck with the number of points you earn a little bit, but we need to roll a couple times on things to see how fast you guys are getting things.
Mm-hmm.
So make yourself a place somewhere on your character sheet, someplace that you will remember.
Yep.
You're at 2 out of 18 on learning deep speech.
Pin it in the Trixie channel if you have to.
And Booker is... Are you just, like, starting from the beginning, Booker, with this book? Or are you wanting to try and find someplace in particular and go diving for something?
Let me see, because I had made a note somewhere to look in the book and research something specifically that Trixie had mentioned. I wasn't looking up Doom Space, was it?
I can flat out tell you Doom Space is not in that book.
Yeah.
Don't waste your time
Wasn't
with that.
one.
It was the name, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a specific name that you ran into. Can't remember the name of the thing. Doom Space, Criminal Crux. Oh, I need to look at the notes. Amy, where are your notes?
Oh, they're
Where are
right
those
here.
notes?
Here you go.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Oh.
Let me see. So we were in the library, which was what? Session 24?
No, 23.
Da, 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 da. Atropus.
Okay, let me... Where in my giant stack PDFs are my Elder Evil things?
I remember Booker had that name like ring in the back of his head for a second, and he couldn't remember where he had that, but he knew that it had some bad vibes to it. Good work, Amy.
I don't even know if I took those notes.
You did.
I mean, in that session, there's like little subsection on Atropus that Iris took.
Yep. Because Amy was AFK.
I had a phone call from my mom, I remember.
What about your grandmother?
Nah, that was my mother.
Freaking. God damn it, my mouse just died.
Oh no, I think it was my grandma. I don't remember. My family interrupts Spelljammer a lot for some reason.
They do. There we go. There's my shit. So, as you read into this section on Atropus, it very quickly becomes clear as you're like looking through this book that this book is written by somebody that is perhaps more fascinated with these elder evils than a person should be.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody that is somehow getting information that you're not sure that how they are getting, and talking about it in such a way that it is not all the way to the point of worship, but it is very much like, isn't that amazing? Isn't that awe-inspiring? Isn't that, like, beyond comprehension? Shouldn't we want to see more of this? Shouldn't we want to understand this? And this book has been put together in a way that these different elder evils, there are sections early in the book that seem to kind of go into what elder evils are, why they are both so well known yet so unknown, theories about what and who they control, if they control people or things. And then it starts to talk about different elder evils, and Atropus is kind of towards the middle of the book. And throughout the different sections, you can see that there's the parts that were very clearly written in this not scientific, but almost like, I am writing a book, let me be formal here. And then there's notes and stuff scrawled into margins that are sometimes comments, sometimes corrections, sometimes quotes, sometimes even an extra little section of another book or a letter or something that somebody else wrote that has been kind of pasted into the side. Shit. What was that?
That was me, sorry.
Joseph.
What?
Stop it. And when you get to Atropus, you see that there is a quotation that is marked as being from a priest called Zaston. Behold the death of your world. There, cresting the horizon, yes, that faint body, it's him. And he comes for me and for all of us. Rejoice, for the end is near, and all life, all pain, all suffering shall be silenced in the eternity of undeath.
Trixie would also hear that, as Booker did read it out loud. But after reading it out loud, it just stops for a second. And, you found a book on this guy in the library, didn't you?
Honey, I was just about to ask you where you got that book. I just mentioned the name once. It's not necessarily about him. She'll kind of like move around in her bag and pull out the little mini books and hold it out for him, or like flip the page and then hold it out for him. It's not really much to go on.
What she holds out to you is kind of a children's young adult type mythology story that the only mention is Atropos once in there. And then Trixie did find a like encyclopedia entry on Atropos that was not super helpful.
Yeah.
Booker reads it, or Booker looks at the passage and then thinks about it. And he looks up at Trixie. I imagine he is sitting cross-legged. And he'll just, like, look at Trixie with this really intense look on his face, and he'll say, "What are the odds that this is somehow tied into what we're dealing with?" You don't think it is, do you?
It'd be nice if it wasn't.
He just nods. Yeah. Yeah, it would be nice if they didn't end up being tied together. Anyway, I think that's enough reading for now. And don't tell anyone about my glasses or I'll fucking kill you.
So you're gonna stop reading there?
He needs to process. So he will stop reading after that passage.
I'll say you had a little bit more time before that. Do you want to just say that he skimmed through some generalized things about the Elder Evils to give you something?
Yeah, sure, yeah.
Okay, let me see here. So, one of the very first sections of this book kind of goes into this verbose descriptor of the Elder Evils. That says along the lines of, when the Elder Evils stir, the worlds groan and cry, and when they awaken, the worlds weep and scream. Buried in the deepest bowels of the Underdark, hidden in the furthest reaches of the multiverse, or lost in the gulfs between realities, the Elder Evils exist only to destroy or horribly remake creation. They are so mighty that these ancient beings even make the gods think twice about standing against them. Most mortals who are aware of their existence find themselves desperately trying to suppress the knowledge and destroy any chance that others might find and serve these elder evils. Even if an elder evil leaves where they have dwelled and are somehow forced back to where they come from, their mere presence changes wherever they have traveled permanently. And then you get through essentially translating over a list of 10 elder evils. Would you like the list?
I would like the list.
Are you ready for a list, Amy?
Hit me.
First elder evil that is named is simply called the evil that does not sleep. The second is Father Lymic, Llymic. The third is the Hulks of Zoretha.
Can you spell all of that?
Hulk, like Green Hulk.
Okay.
Hulks,
Got it.
plural,
Okay.
of Zoretha. Zoretha.
Thank you.
The next one is the Leviathan. Then there is Atropus. Then there is Pandorum. Pandorym. There is Ragnora, which spelled how it sounds. There is the Worm that Walks. There's Sertrous, Sertrous. And then there is Zargon, spelled how it sounds.
How did you spell the second to last one?
Sertrous.
Okay, thank you.
Ooh. Intriguing. Big fan of these. Not in character, by the way.
Yeah, Celestian might have a few things to say about that.
Oh my god, I feel like the person who wrote this book, the one that's like on borderline worship of like this is so amazing and cool, is just Joe.
It's very
Joe wrote this book.
It's intentionally on my part just meant to be very Lovecraftian of they went crazy and started worshipping the thing rather than they just went straight up crazy and like died.
Mm.
They're in the early stages of starting to worship the thing when they wrote this book. Enough that as you're reading it, you feel like the sections that are written to be like part of the book intentionally maybe either glossing over some things or, you know, maybe exaggerating a few things, but so like it's not, some of it may not be 100% true, but it's probably factually based to one degree or another. When you start looking more and more at the extra shit that gets added into it, like that passage, that's when it starts getting a little bit more crazy. And it's like, I don't know why or how these were added, but this is starting to feel more culty.
I like it.
Hell of a way to learn deep speech.
Yeah, well, there's not really anything casual written in this fucking language, is there?
I mean, Booker could like maybe write something nice and wholesome for Trixie to learn it.
I honestly think Booker's probably my least creative character.
But that's how you all spend your day.
Mm-hmm.
And it starts to get towards evening time, so you all realize it's about time to head to the Happy Beholder. And fuck me, I did not. And my mouse is dead. Okay, you guys are not getting Happy Beholder because I'm not fucking around with moving a map without an actual mouse to use. I'm not doing that on a touchpad.
Fair enough. Time to use our imagination.
Imagination.
You don't get the Happy Beholder map, but I can give you the disturbing image of Large Luigi. Here you go.
Hell yeah. It's really all we need.
Just
Yes.
know that that's floating somewhere in the room at all times.
Mm-hmm.
So
Jesus Christ.
I love Luigi so much. So you all get to the Happy Beholder, and you don't see anybody else. You don't see Elena, you don't see Flapjack, you don't see Crux or Flinch yet. Are you guys wanting to get kind of a centralized table, or attempt to get a centralized table, or are you guys going to try and get a more private table?
Gonna get a private table.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like I suggested earlier, just get Elena's favorite meal. A nice, like full 3-course meal,
Hey Luigi, give us the good shit.
Yeah. Fucking get her favorite drink.
So are you guys going to try and like go ahead and set up a place for Elena? Because Elena doesn't know that
Yeah.
she's about to have this conversation.
Nope.
Yep.
Okay.
Wave her over.
So you all sit down, and it doesn't take long for Luigi to come, or Luigi to acknowledge that all of you are there, and you see each of your respective drinks starting to float over. Though, Button, you will notice that this time, though you do get a flagon of ale, it is only half full.
What?
Because you do not drink the flagon of ale.
What? Yes, they do.
You pretend to drink the flagon of ale.
No, Button does drink it.
They do actually consume it.
Yes, they do.
Okay, you get the full flagon then. I was sitting here thinking that you just liked having the flagon in front of you and pretended to drink.
That was at Spelljammer Academy. Last time they were here, Button partook in their first consumption of alcohol because it was part of a group activity. And Button has learned this is a group activity and they don't want to be left out. And that they can eat, they just don't because it's a waste.
Yeah, there's no point to it.
Yeah, there's no point to it. However, they do drink. That's why Trixie was like, wait, what the fuck?
So, you all get your drinks and go ahead and mark off from the gold sheet Joe, that
Uh-huh.
in order to get all of your drinks, I'm assuming cover Crux and Flinch as well for this, and like food and some good food for Elena, is going to take 10 gold in total.
Fair. Fair enough. Sometimes you have to spend good money to successfully convince your captain to give up her ship so that we can go gallivanting around on it and then convince her that she should help us save the world from what is ostensibly potentially related to or is an elder evil. Though we can't
Instead
prove
of
it.
having to meet
In the first, it's about, been there for about 15-20 minutes, long enough that you all have been able to drink a little bit of your ale. Not so much that you've like finished a pint yet. And there is kind of appetizer-y type foods that have been laid out in like a basket of bread. So you're starting to get some things, and the first people that come through the door end up being Crux and Flinch, who, to their credits, though they are not dressed up by any means, they seem to have taken seriously this help us convince our captain that we are not crazy, and have cleaned up a little bit. Not looking quite as rough as they did this morning. You're pretty sure that Crux is mostly over the hangover, though you're not sure how long that is going to last. And they make their way over to the table and sit down, and you kind of get this nod from each of them. Well, we've spent the day gathering a few things, talking to a few people. Whenever all of you are ready to ship out, we should be able to bring everything to whichever ship we are going to be on within an hour or two.
Perfect. We'll hopefully keep this relatively short, painless.
Flinch kind of tilts his head as he's being poured a pint of ale from a floating pitcher. Just how bad do you think this is going to be?
Booker just shrugs and just goes, nah. But he does not answer the question.
And you just get this, like, slow blink, one single nod, and Flinch very pointedly takes several large gulps of ale. And Crux just kind of snorts. And you notice that he is very pointedly trying, like, there is a tankard in front of him, but he kind of, like, pushes it a little bit away and, like, grabs for, like, a plain glass that is filled with water a few minutes later. And he is, though he wants to drink, you're pretty sure he is trying to fight the urge to drink right now. Is there anything that you want to talk to them about or say to them before Elena shows up?
I got nothing. I'm good.
Nothing useful.
Same.
It's just Button being Button, essentially.
Well, if Button wants to ask a Button question or two, you can. We cannot deny the Button to be Button.
Ah, man. Okay.
Why do I imagine there just being a list of 20 Button questions that you just rolled on?
There. I don't have one, but I should make one. I was more so thinking of like how insensitive and invasive slash not invasive, but like how awkward is Button going to be with these questions? That's what the roll is always for.
You need to make a Button random question table.
It's like
You
a
know what?
random encounter table, but only
Random
for button
question.
questions.
Random question generator. Let's go. Click for a question. Okay. I imagine Button just like sits down. It's like silence. They take their drink, which is very, very, very big. And they just like take a sip. Because imagine they have to kind of just like almost like half stand on their chair to sip at their drink at first before there's enough that they can actually like pick it up and tilt it.
Mm-hmm.
Take a sip, take a sip. And they just unnervingly bright eyes that are unchanging just stare at them for a second before they say, "Hello. I have a question."
Here we go.
Which one are you looking at?
Yes.
Flinch just assumes you're looking at him, and you just see this like eye flicker towards Booker at his like muttering. Go back to Button, look back at Booker again, go back to Button. Okay.
Do you have any hobbies?
And Flinch just kind of tilts his head. Well, I mean, I whittle and carve a bit, I guess. Whatever little bit of timber we still have laying around a ship.
Do you have any with you? I would like to see.
Talking if he has any carvings with him.
Yes.
And there's this pause, no movement, kind of like, are they serious? Oh, I guess they're serious. And this kind of pats around the pouches on his belt for a moment, and then we'll pull out a tiny carving that seems to be very much like half finished right now. Just like getting the general shape, and you can tell that it is meant to be a space galleon ship of some sort, but it's small, like palm of the hand size. In process, but the shape is there.
Just focus, laser focus. Oh, this is very nice. Good job.
Thank you. It's just something to keep the hands busy when we're got nothing else to do.
Nod, nod, nod.
Just slowly puts carving back into belt pouch, kind of pats it. Why are you asking?
I do not understand the question.
Looks to Booker and Trixie for help.
Booker just shrugs and says, "They like things. They just like knowing stuff." Shrugs in like I don't know how to fucking say it. I don't know how else to explain it way.
I mean, guess to each their own. There's just little snort from Crux. Doesn't comment on it, though.
Focus on Crux. Big eyes, stare. Do you have any hobbies?
Drinking.
What is your favorite drink?
And there's kind of this, like, surprise. Like, I wasn't expecting a follow-up question to that. And then there's kind of a tilt of the head. I mean, generally I'm drinking mead and ale. I think I like mead a little bit better, but there's more types of ale. Edge probably has the best ale on the rock.
What is the difference in taste?
And he kind of pauses. There's confusion. And then there's sudden realization. You're one of them types that doesn't really have taste buds, ain't you?
No. I do not.
And he just kind of nods. I don't really think there's any way to describe the differences in taste that you would understand.
You see Button kind of just like, their head kind of like lowers a little bit
There's
as like their guy's gaze goes from Crux to like the ale that they have in front of them.
I can tell you what goes into different ales that makes them taste different. But that's different than what's the difference in taste.
I already know what goes into them. I read it. I was hoping that it could be described.
And Crux kind of looks at his full pint of ale and kind of lifts it up and examines the foam on the top. Taste is a strange thing. Only the strongest tastes can really be described in a way that might make sense. But all of the little variations in between is harder. Even all of us at this table would probably describe it differently because we don't taste it the same. We may not like it the same way.
So taste is different for everyone?
Crux nods. Flinch starts nodding.
Booker Well, I was gonna say he pantomimes looking at his watch, but I don't think watches are exist necessarily in the setting.
Not really, no. Pantomime looking at the sundial on your wrist.
Yeah, like he just there's a notable look of just like, oh my god, like on Booker's face.
This is why you keep the Micken around, to have the weird ass conversations with Button you have to deal with.
I think Button just takes another sip of their ale before they just like sit down and just give a nod to Flinch and Crux. It's like, thank you for answering my questions. I have learned a lot.
Right about that time is when Elena walks through the door with Flapjack floating along behind her. And Flapjack looks to be in a fairly good mood. His hat is still on. He is kind of bouncing a little bit where he is floating along. He seems to have had a decent day. Elena looks tired. Not in a bad mood necessarily, but tired. She spots all of you, and I assume gets waved over to the chairs that were left for her and Flapjack, and walks over and just kind of sinks into the chair with a sigh.
Fancy meeting you here. Taking a sip.
And Elena just kind of where she has been sunk into the chair and kind of tilted her head back and closed her eyes for a moment. In that very much I've been on my feet all day, thank God I am sitting down. She just kind of cracks an eye open, looks at Booker with this expression that you're pretty sure it's I want to be a smartass to you, but I also don't have that type of energy at the moment. And she just kind of sits forward and reaches for her drink and nods to the crew, and then when her eyes land on Crux and Flinch, she raises a brow and looks towards Booker and Liliana. Oh, don't tell me you've gotten some more strays that you're bringing in.
Well, yes and no. You see, you asked for us to come up with a plan so that you'd feel better about lending us the ladybug. And gestures to them, to Flinch and Crux, just goes, and we started working with them to formulate a plan.
And you see her kind of follow the movement of your hand and blink at Crux and Flinch. And then eyes, who both of them kind of nod politely, and Crux even kind of lifts the beret on his head just slightly before putting it back on. And she looks back to Booker, holds up a finger in kind of a wait motion, downs half of her pint, and then puts it on the table and leans back in her chair. Okay.
Feel better?
Feel better a little bit, yes, but I have a feeling that's not going to last very long.
You might be right. Might be right about that one. But we'll see. So, Booker leans forward, not giving her any time to wait. He says, here's the plan. We've just stumbled onto some information that leads us to believe this thing that is currently ravaging Toril, probably still, has some dicey connections to some less than savory types of folks. We actually got ambushed yesterday. Ended up getting 2 real good clean hits on my gut. So, worth noting that we're coming at this now with a personal vendetta. Because I don't like getting stabbed and not getting back at the person who stabbed me. But the gist of it is, we think that these guys have this thing in their pocket, and they have some, well, sort of way to contact them, or communicate with it, or fuck around with it. So we aims to find out, and we're gonna need the ladybug to do it. But we didn't want to leave you high and dry without having a ship. So, we, being the magnanimous types of folks that we are, figured that it would probably be beneficial for you to hold on to the Nautilus for a little bit. I think Flinch here maybe knows a guy or two around the island who could fix it up for you.
Flinch just kind of pauses at being, like, called out. And you could see these, like, very hard eyes turn on Booker for a second. And there's just a beat long enough that in the back of your mind, Booker, you're like, oh god, he's not going to play along. He's not going to play along at all.
Booker, feeling that is just like, okay, moving on. So, anyway, we're thinking that we need to recruit more people, or like-minded, sensible folks like ourselves, who are invested in putting away this nasty, no good miscreant who's currently eating Toril. And there's definitely common sentiment among some folks, as you can see by our two friends here. So we aims to go and recruit him. And we want you, being the savvy captain you are, to use the Nautilus to lead the charge against this thing, but only when the time has come, which won't be for a good bit. We gotta build up a sizable fleet is all. We've already got our travel plans laid out. We have a place to pop off to right away. As soon as we're done and wrapped up here, that is. He just gestures more broadly, as if to say, like, once we're done on Toril, not done, like, at this table with this conversation.
Elena, for her credit, does not try to interrupt. And she's kind of goes, like, is watching Booker very carefully. Looks over to Flinch when he is brought up and glances at Crux once or twice, mostly watching Booker. And then she kind of crosses her arms and looks to the rest of the crew. So, let me get this straight here. 2 days ago, 3 days ago, we arrive, not knowing what's going on. Just glad to be away from it. 2 days ago, you tell me that you think you know what might be going on. You kind of want to stop it, and you might need the Lady Luck to do that. Today, you're building a fleet to go take care of the people who you think might be communicating with those vines. You definitely need the Lady Luck. And I'm supposed to captain a nautiloid at the head of your fleet.
Booker, throughout that entire wind-up, had been taking one incredibly protracted sip from his drink. And when she finishes, he, like, loudly gulps, sets his drink down, and just... Yes. Believe that about sums it up quite succinctly.
And then her eyes turn and land very pointedly on Trixie and Button. And you both agree with him.
Yes.
Thank God. Trixie, Don't leave me hanging.
We
Swear
cannot
to
hear the
Christ.
iris. Iris!
Iris?
Sorry, I got a phone call.
I got you.
What happened? Sorry about that. You want to...
Elena was just essentially saying you agree with Booker's plan here.
We kind of all think it's the right thing to do.
And Elena just kind of... She's very clearly put on a poker face at the moment. There is not a lot of emoting that is happening. As she kind of shifts to look at Crux and Flinch. And to their credit, these kind of old, crusty sailors, they have enough humility to look a little... just a little cowed by Elena. But they do not flinch or start looking nervous. They're just like, yeah, we know how it sounds. And she kind of looks between them for the moment. Where exactly are you all planning on taking my ship?
Well, you see, the first stop here is partially a practical bit of information gathering. Reconnaissance, more or less.
And we obviously wouldn't be doing this trip without it even.
Wait, we wouldn't be doing this trip without what?
Without good reason. Like, basically trying to, yeah.
But
Booker just slaps a hand down on Button's hand to be like, not yet, not yet, not yet.
and Elena just kind of like looks between Booker and Trixie. The fact that you're not telling me where narrows down a lot of systems.
We understand the amount of danger that comes with going there, but looks to Booker for like confirmation.
We also understand that you are aware of all of the skill and care with which we will be flying in such a place. Obviously, not without thorough research about where we'll be going and the route where we plan on getting there, which we already have planned out, mind you.
We, as a side note, we already did tell Elena that we all had some kind of fucking godly vision, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And on top of it, you know, godly mission, holy mission. We wouldn't be asked if they didn't think we could, if we didn't do it, right?
And Elena just kind of looks Trixie up and down. You clearly don't listen to enough bard songs, if you're going to say that.
I went a little bit.
And she will kind of hone in on Crux and lean forward a little bit, propping her elbows on the edge of the table. Since my crew seems to be turning yellow-bellied at the moment, where are all of you going? And Crux kind of glances around, straightens up a little bit, just kind of like loosen the collar, cough. Oh, well, we have a colleague of mine waiting with a good handful of ships and trying to cut a deal currently with the Mercans of Doomspace. And you just see Alina's eyes very slowly close. She has not moved, she has not said anything, she just closes her eyes. And then leans back in her chair. The Mercans of Doomspace.
Now, I know what you might be thinking. Are we going to Doomspace? And while you might think that is an obvious question, you might be surprised to know that we've already planned on what we're going to be doing after the fact. So that we're more familiar with the origin. Looking to Trixie and Button, like, kind of scrambling for what to say.
And we have multiple maps of what was previously and what's currently known thus far.
Nod. Start taking out the map again.
And slowly, just like, slowly start to take out the map, looking at Booker.
Button, that's your cue. Button.
Pulls out the map. I have a map. Multiple maps.
Alina
Booker
kind
just
of
starts
looks over.
taking long sips, just taking longer and longer drinks.
Elena will take the map, open it. You see her. It's not hard to tell. As soon as she opens the scroll, she gets to the point where she see open, black hole, close a little bit. Looks up, kind of into the distance. Takes a very slow breath. Drinks some more ale, puts it back down. Goes back and starts opening the scroll again. And since it's been Booker talking out his ass for the most part, persuasion at advantage.
Oh, advantage! This is a +1. That's pretty good. That's pretty good with advantage. Booker, in his mind, is drafting up the apology note that he is going to need.
And Elena kind of is looking over this map for a moment. You can see she is half the time she is actually looking at the map. The other half of the time she's just kind of staring at it as the wheels are turning. She finally kind of rolls the map closed again, hands it back to Button, laces her fingers together and kind of puts her hands on the table. and kind of looks around the group and sizes up the vibes a little bit. And exactly how confident are all of you that this is what needs to happen? For all we know, there's nothing you can do, or somebody else might be able to do something.
Yeah, speak for the others, but I'm at least confident in going to the church, finding what we need there.
I'll just throw out there that I don't think you're gonna find anyone who's who's about as half-baked and twice as crazy as us, willing to do this, who all have rubs his forehead and just goes, holy quests to do it.
You very quickly, Booker, get this, like, kind of critical look of, like, okay, you're actually believing that shit?
Look, he, like, kind of tries to figure out how to frame this in a better way, but he's just like, I saw some shit that certainly convinced me. And I'm not easy to convince. You know that much. Cross his arms and kind of lean back like, I ain't perfect, but... well, it's something. Something weird.
And she'll look at Button as the only one who's not spoke up.
I am not on a holy mission. However, I have the most confidence that we can do this. And that we will make a difference.
And she kind of hangs her head a little bit. And you see her, like, nodding very, very slightly. And the next thing you hear from her is just this very tired, oh, Ozzy's not gonna like this one. And 3 of you roll me perception.
Mm-hmm. Alright, 18. I accept that.
Thanks.
What?
Rolling my die. 14.
Okay.
Plus perception.
Yes.
Plus 7.
Goddamn.
21.
Sheesh.
So
We're very perceptive.
all 3 of you, she says Ozzy's not gonna like this, can very clearly see just a small flinch from Flinch. That very much, like, almost sympathetic, like, ooh, kind of movement and gesture. But he doesn't say anything. And Elena kind of takes a deep breath and looks over to Flapjack. You can see that there is some sort of telepathic conversation that gets initiated, which is not uncommon for the 2 of them. And after a moment, Flapjack just kind of nods, and then Elena nods. Well, if I'm going to be fixing up a nautiloid, I'm going to need some gold. And then kind of smiles sweetly at Booker. I heard that you came into a decent amount the other day.
There's the immediate, like, eye twitch. Right. That's fair. Makes a good bit of sense. Doesn't it? Helping you lead the pack and all. How much do you think it'll run me for, you know, fixing up an autoloid and such?
How much do you have left in the coffers there, Joe?
Aside from spending on Micken, 1,005.
So, Elena will tell you that between what she has personally from most recent shipments, it will take 500 from it. So it'll take half of that.
You know what? Going to a good cause.
So you spend...
Booker will very reluctantly hand over 500 gold.
So you hand over the 500 gold, and you see her tuck it away into a pouch. She nods. It's going to be a pain in the ass finding workers for this, and finding the extra crew that's going to be needed for one of these. But I imagine we'll have it battle ready, I guess. In what? And she looks towards Flapjack. A month? You see Flapjack kind of tilt and waver just a bit, and one of his tentacles kind of rises in this like side to side gesture. 2 tops.
Ah. Well, that seems mighty reasonable. So, we have your permission then?
And you see that as you ask that, there's very much that kind of like grimace of like, I can't believe that I'm going to do this, and I hate the fact that I'm going to do this. And there's like this like almost visceral physical reaction that you see going on with Elena, and she just closes her eyes, and you see the fingers laced on the table just kind of tighten around each other before they are very carefully, one by one, relaxed. You can take the Lady Luck to Doom Space. I swear to all the gods, holy mission or not, if you destroy my ship, I am going to be working the gold out of your hides for the rest of eternity.
Booker, like, getting the approval to take the ship, he immediately gets a bit of, like, a cocky grin on his face, and he'll look to the others, and then he'll kind of pull his arms out in this wide, like, hey, look at that, we did it, kind of gesture. We'll be like, hey, come on now, you don't trust me? I am now a peer. Not just Booker the first mate. I have achieved captain status. Temporarily, sort of.
As you say that, her eyes slowly open. She reaches out and snatches a horn and pulls you close.
Ah!
If If you break my ship, Sarpin Booker, you're going to wish we left you in the astral sea.
Haha.
Am I understood?
A little bit of a gulp, and a Booker, in a very bizarre twist of fate, looks more like Micken. And he will nod and be like, crystal clear.
And she releases the horn.
Clears his throat, straightens his jacket a little bit, smooths out his hair. Right. Well, I think this calls for a very calm and reasonable celebration. And I ran out of a drink about 5 or 6 stress sips ago, so I'm gonna go get another.
You raise your hand and you get the acknowledgement from Luigi, who has been perhaps wisely keeping to the other side of the room, seeing the tension rising. And a moment or two later, you see another round of drinks floating over, followed very closely by a giant smiling beholder. And as the filled drinks hit the table and all of the empty flagons begin to lift into the air and proceed in a single file back towards the bar and the kitchen, Luigi just kind of hovers over the table, and you see him all of the eyes very quickly flick face to face to face, process, and then all of the eye stalks start moving in different directions, looking at other things again. Except for the main eye focused on all of you. And this looks like an interesting bunch. Also, somebody looks like they are wanting to get a little drunk. Looks towards Elena, and Elena just, puts her, rubs a hand over her face. A lot drunk, Luigi, a lot drunk. And you just see Luigi kind of bob in this nod motion. I don't suppose this has had anything to do with a rumor about some particularly nasty elves throwing explosive arrows at people that sounded an awful lot like all of you. You're not going to indulge Luigi today?
You
have to feed the
I'm
Luigi,
sorry.
it's only fair.
It's like, I'm sorry. I'm very sorry. Button's head pops up from around the new pint. I did not realize those were explosive.
What did you think they were if they weren't explosive? Everybody said they saw flashes of light.
I was focused.
So focused you didn't see the flashes of light? And one of the eye stalks lowers, so it's now eye to eye with Button, a foot in front of Button's face. The eyeball is the size of Button's head.
I had an objective. So I was focused.
And you just hear this hum, and Luigi kind of shifts and looks towards Trixie and Booker. I assume that means yes.
Jesus. It's been a weird 2 days, 3 days ish. I've agreed to shit that I didn't think I'd ever agree to. Here we are. But you know what? I got a ship out of it. Sorta.
Yeah, you say I got a ship out of it, and in that brief pause between I got a ship and sorta, you get this if a look could kill from Elena. And Luigi very clearly picks up on that and kind of floats his way a little closer to Booker. As close as you could manage while being a giant floating head. You got a ship. You got her ship. Elena, I thought you would never leave the lady. And Elena, very clearly muttering and cursing in Dwarvish into her cup as she takes another swig. Does that mean you're going to get a hat, Booker?
We'll see.
Rixie bursts out laughing at that thought.
Hey, what's so funny?
So I imagine she was taking a sip of her drink and just kind of like sprayed it with it. Nothing at all.
Booker does not believe her for a fucking second. He just narrows his eyes.
Trixie looks at Booker and is very obviously looking above his head, trying to imagine that. And just starts freaking snickering.
And
No, I think it suit you.
Luigi just kind of like bobs up and down in the air. If you want to be a proper captain, you have to have a hat. All captains have hats. It's how you pick them out of the crowd.
Yeah, it's a totally normal thing to have, Trixie.
It's not like it's hard to pick you out of a crowd anyways.
What does that mean?
Hit yourself.
He looks down. Are you trying to insult the way that I dress?
Well, I mean, it's a very particular way of dressing.
Just get like this frustrated, half partially embarrassed, humiliated look, or just like biting his lip.
It suits you, okay?
Sits back down and then puts a hand to the side of his eye, like rubs his eyebrow, and is just like, oh, what did I agree to? Or with whom did I agree to do this with?
And there's the first existential crisis of a captain. Congratulations, you're hitting the milestones early.
Pat, 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 Booker. I imagine. For some reason, I imagine that like Button is in between the two of them just like, so they're looking just back and forth, like a ping pong match. Reaches up a hand, pat, pat, pat. We
And
can look for a hat tomorrow.
Luigi he just kind of like seems very pleased with himself with that. There's this kind of low, rumbly hum. Oh gosh, can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess it's just my YouTube that freaked out on me. So there's kind of this low, rumbly hum that you think is amusement for the beholder. As he looks back towards Elena, and as she is drinking and eating, seeming to relax just a little bit, also seemingly pleased with herself that Booker is not going to have it easy. And you see Luigi kind of lower himself a little bit so his main eye is a little closer to head level with Elena. And where are you going to be then if they are taking the lady? And she kind of gestures vaguely in the direction of the docks. Well, they have managed to talk me into going onto the Nautiloid. At least if I can manage to get it fixed up first. And for the first time since you all arrived in the past few days, Luigi, the wide grin that he always seems to have kind of fades a little bit, not in an upset way, more of a considering. You're going to fly the Nautiloid. It's been, I don't know, 100+ years since the last time a human flew the Nautiloids. And Elena just kind of tilts her head, looking at him out of the corner of her eye. Is that supposed to be a warning of some sort? Not at all. Just interesting. I might actually have a suggestion or two if you are really wanting to fly that ship. And Elena just slowly nods. I might take you up on that offer, Luigi. And that grin widens back up, taking up almost his whole face again. As he kind of looks around the table. Is there anything I can do for any of you?
Oh man, is there anything you could do for us?
A quick player huddle. Do we need any information of some sort? I feel like he is the go-to for information.
If he doesn't know it, he can point you to somebody.
Mm-hmm.
God, all of the questions that I was like, man, I wish we knew this or I wish we knew that, have now just fallen out of the back of my fucking head.
I know, right?
God damn it.
Shit.
Hold on, I need to look at the notes. Amy, hand me the notes.
Oh, here you go.
Thank you.
I'll be honest with you. This conversation I haven't really been taking notes on.
No, this is fine. I'm looking at
Okay.
older notes.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Yeah, I have those. They're right there.
Right.
No, it's going to be whatever personal question, but it's not an important story whatsoever.
What? Can you repeat that, please?
Trixie would have a personal question, but it's not important to the story whatsoever.
Well,
Ask
ask it. Give these two a moment to scour their notes.
Yeah, buy time.
Well,
Yeah, give us time.
I don't have exact details, but She would ask if she's heard anything about the ship her brothers are on.
If the
If
brother...
they had port,
about her
if they
brothers?
had been in port. Yeah.
I keep trying to use my mouse, and I keep forgetting my mouse is dead. Hold on. Gotta scroll.
Have you heard any news from the insert Spelljammer ship here?
And as you ask that, you see the puzzle pieces clicking for Luigi. Oh, you're part of that brood then, aren't you? I wondered why you looked familiar, though I know I'd never met you.
Say it like it's that then.
Oh,
Were my brothers having trouble?
one of them almost got petrified. Though I think
That's one.
serious.
Why am I not surprised?
I think he had a little too much absinthe for the day. But his crew got him away. I believe Aster came through recently. Was on a ship headed towards Garden.
I know where that is.
Yes, that's one of the inner... It's kind of like... So, realm space is kind of like our solar system where there's inner planets and there's outer planets. Garden is another one of the inner planets that has a lot of life on it. It is kind of seen as, if you're not going to Toril, you're probably going to Garden, because those are the two most populated with the friendliest population. Because, like, Hakatha is very populated, but you don't want to go to Hakatha because the beholders are going to kill you. But Toril and Garden are relatively normal, and they have ports and stuff like that. So that's just, you would know that's another one of your kind of major ports of call.
Okay.
Were there other questions?
Nah.
All I can think of is like maybe asking him about mercans. See if there's any more information we can learn about him. But I don't know how useful that would be. It's just all I've got. Other than like the typical, what do you know about Doom Space?
Mm-hmm.
We've already asked him about
Yeah.
the fucking crystal and the devouring thing and like all that jazz.
And I will tell you that you guys were, I believe, informed that mercans have a outsized influence in Doomspace, I guess you could say.
Mm-hmm.
They trade peoples. Mm.
I can think of something Booker would want to ask, but he wouldn't want to ask about it in front of everyone. He would want to ask about Atropos.
Okay.
About what he read about Atropos.
So, say if Amy, if you want to ask about mercans, you can.
Mm-hmm.
Because you guys are having a little bit of a stumbling block here, and it is late for it.
Mm-hmm.
Joe, if you are willing, before Weird on Sunday, if you guys come up with any other questions,
Gotcha.
we can discuss it very quickly before Weird. Just to give you guys more of a deadline and actually get done. And then you can ask about Atropos. Say that Booker asks about Atropos after everybody's like headed off to bed. If you think he would still want to ask later.
Yes. Yeah.
So, because that voice kills my fucking throat. No more Luigi voice tonight.
No more Luigi? Aw.
No, not tonight. Do you want to ask about Merkins, Amy?
Yeah, sure, why not?
So,
More notes for Button.
what exactly does Button ask?
I feel like shitty for saying literally everything, but that's the kind of person Button is. They want to know as much information as possible. Probably like,
Well,
I don't know.
phrase the
they're-
question for me, because that will inform how Luigi approaches the question. You put it that way.
Okay. Probably start off with like, hey, are you familiar with like is it Mercans? Is that how you pronounce it?
Yes.
Probably start off with like, are you familiar with Mercans? And I assume you would say yes.
Yes.
It's like,
Is there anything we should know about Mercants that could be useful as we venture into Doomspace to learn about the thing that I can't remember? I cannot remember the name of this creature for the life of me, and I don't know why.
The one
The Harbinger, the thing.
talking about the orange shit?
Yeah.
I don't know that I ever gave you a name for that.
I thought you gave us a more explicit name than like I've been thinking of it as the Harbinger, and I thought you gave us a more explicit name than that. But I might have been wrong.
I don't remember. We'll be real here. I don't remember right now.
Gotcha. Fair enough.
It's late.
Fair enough.
So Luigi would confirm that he knows about Mercans. In fact, there is a Mercan kind of association on Brawl. I like a branch of. And we'll go on to explain that Mercans are a sub-race, essentially, of some offshoot of giants. And they are usually relatively solitary. However, they function as a societal network of merchants. So, essentially, most places you might only have a grand total of like 4, maybe 5 mercans in like a major city. They don't necessarily live together unless they are partnered. However, they all know each other and trade and do commerce with each other and do commerce and trade with other mercans everywhere else. If you're a mercan, you are a merchant in their web. They are very, very focused on trade and on gold. They essentially are going to say that mercan society first, merchant and trade second, and pretty much fuck everything else. They'll say that they are, Luigi will say that they tend to prefer diplomacy and bribery rather than out-and-out conflict, and would prefer to do things however they believe will get them the most gold or the best deal. However, once you have a contract with a mercan, they are extremely reliable. They do not break or void contracts and agreements. Period.
Okay.
And they are, though they are not fighters by any means, despite how large they are, mercans have a type of magic that even Luigi doesn't know how to start understanding.
Oh.
It is a magic that is blended with some sort of technology that is a very, very tightly held and controlled secret to mercans. Nobody that Luigi knows has any idea how to utilize or make or replicate mercan magic and mercan tools.
Okay. I have a follow-up question, but I want to double check with the group. Have we asked Luigi if he's heard of Vocath?
No.
No, I don't remember doing that.
Should we?
Is there a reason we shouldn't?
It's literally just like, if you want to keep shit secret, I understand. But like, we have information, essentially the information broker here. Because that was the person responsible for all the fuck shit that went down at Spelljammer Academy.
And you have also heard their name in relation to Doomspace.
Mm-hmm.
True. Fuck it. I say go for it.
Yeah. Alright. Then we'll ask if Luigi has heard about Vocath, or a mercan named Vocath.
When you ask that, Luigi immediately opened his mouth to respond, but you get a reaction out of Crux first. And Crux just tells you that he is pretty sure that that is one of the people that his colleague in Doomspace is talking to.
Okay. If Button can narrow their eyes, they would.
And Luigi will kind of like nod at Crux and admit that he doesn't know a lot about Vocath because they have not crossed paths. However, he does know that Vocath is the primary mercan in Doomspace, to the point that he has his own base in Doomspace.
Oh.
And this is Amy, so this is an Amy question. Roll me a d20, Amy.
Ah, shit. Really a lot of 9s today.
You really are. He's not sure exactly how or why these two things keep getting brought up in connection to each other. But Luigi has heard Vocath being brought up several times in relation to one of the arenas of blood that is located in Dune space. And all of you can roll me a history really fast.
History. There it is. 19.
Do we
I
have
think
an
Iris is AFK.
Okay. Let's see. Do we have an Iris with the physical die? Oh yeah, I'm reminded now, because I've told Amy and Iris this. Joe, if you really want to, you can roll physical dice for this. It's just I might require you to take pictures of important rolls and send them to me.
Fair.
So if that is something that you desire to do at some point in the future, just let me know. That you are doing that, so that I am not sitting here waiting for a bloop that is not coming.
I just got back. I'm rolling.
Hi.
Hello.
Oh,
History.
that's an 11 plus -1 to 10.
Okay. So, Button, you have read about the Arenas of Blood a little bit at the Academy. It's not something that is in very many books there. It is all that you have read. They are a series of arenas that participate in gladiatorial style games that are connected somehow. However, every arena is based out of a different crystal sphere. Booker, you know a little bit more, because you've heard the kind of rumors and the gossip that goes around the docks and the taverns. That these gladiatorial coliseums that are in various different crystal spheres, though each one has a different style of game, a different kind of trick to it, each one has its own champion. And you get rewards for participating, of course, especially if you do well. You can become a champion. However, there's rumors that should you start to beat multiple arenas, the champion of multiple arenas, you get different prizes. Prizes that may be worth more, may be leading you to something. There's a lot of different rumors and different ways of kind of nobody knows, because nobody really is able to do that. It's very, very, very rare that one of these arena champions are beaten. And there is a very distinct rumor that if you manage to beat all of the arena champions, that the reward for doing so could drastically change a person's life.
Huh.
And also, if you guys want to do the gladiatorial champion prestige path, you have to beat them. Cough, cough.
Fuck. That is good to know.
So that's what you have heard, or that's what Luigi has heard about the Mercans and Vokath.
Interesting.
Is there any other follow-up questions to that particular line of questions? Go
I
ahead.
can't think of one right now,
Okay.
but that does not mean I won't have one eventually.
Your deadline is before Weird on Sunday.
Fair enough.
And then you wanted to have Booker pull Luigi aside later in the night. I imagine after everybody else has kind of gone to bed and waiting for the tavern to die down just a little bit. And you wanted to ask Luigi about Atropos, yes?
Yeah, like what do you know about Atropos? Just the name of in general, really.
And you mention Atropos, and Luigi sombers up a little bit. And very clearly kind of gives you a serious look over. And just simply asks, why do you want to know about him?
Read about him in an interesting book. And I'm curious.
And Luigi doesn't say anything for a moment. If you found a book that talks about Atropos, you would be better off burning that book.
Oh. What makes you say that? Not bad, huh?
And Luigi kind of, at this point I imagine it's not the Happy Beholder never closes because Brawl never fully closes, but you've managed to get Luigi kind of behind the bar, and he has just this massive kind of cushioned stool that he'll lower himself onto to kind of a beholder version of sit. And he's kind of sunk into this cushion a little bit and is kind of eyeing you. Atropos only wants to consume. And it's not because of hunger. It's not because of a need for sustenance. It's because that's all Atropos is. Atropos is the world-born dead, Booker. And it has the power to make everything in its image if it wants to.
Booker's honestly just kind of stunned silent at this. Like, slightly narrowed eyes and not sure what to think. I'll keep that in mind. Yeah.
If you're not going to take my advice and burn that book, be very careful about who reads it and who knows you have it. The elder evils have a tendency to make people lose their sense. And once that's gone, there's not much getting them back.
Nods. Sure. Thanks for the heads up. Play it a little close to the chest. Play it a little bit closer to the chest, then. And Booker looks over his shoulder just to make sure that no one else is there. Just kind of feeling that creeping sensation.
There's nobody else there. There's a couple of curious glances in your direction, but you imagine it's more that you're just kind of sitting at the bar talking to Luigi, which is not super common because usually Luigi's just, in everybody's business everywhere else. And Luigi just kind of sighs. I genuinely hope there's just a curiosity for this. A lot of your types don't think the Elder Evils are anything real anymore. It's been too long since mortals have seen them, let alone heard of them.
What would it mean if somebody had a book on the Elder Evils?
Depends. Some just stumble upon them and it's an interesting story about things that don't exist. Others find themselves drawn to the Elder Evils, thinking they're somehow better. These things. Some, not all, but some of them can stand against the combined mights of the gods themselves. Who doesn't want to worship something that strong and that powerful? But then they forget what they actually do. If you find somebody with one of those books, just keep an eye on them. It may be nothing. It may be everything.
Just nods. And it's very clear, I imagine, to Luigi that Booker does comprehend the gravity of what's trying to be imparted onto him, but he does not quite understand the scope. Like, he gets that it's a big and bad thing, but his mind is just, feels like he is unable to completely understand how big and bad this thing truly is. And what it means for something to be known as an elder evil.
Mm. And Luigi sees that. See kind of this little bit of a frown on his face, which is honestly just slightly disturbing. Just as like unsettling as the wide, sharp tooth smile can be on Luigi, to see his lips start to twist into a frown, you can kind of start to see that little reminder of what Luigi is. Because that's all you would see on another beholder is a frown. It's that little tiny reminder of, oh yeah, this is my friend, but this is also something that could kill this entire bar. If he really wanted to. And he kind of frowns and shifts. And there's all eyes trained on Booker at the moment. And finally, after just kind of extended silence, Luigi starts to float up out of the cushion that he is settled on. From what I understand, you have enough on your plate right now. Take care of that first. But promise me that if you think you are truly dealing with some sort of elder evil or a cult of Atropos, come back and ask me to show you.
Booker nods. I think that can be arranged. Sure. If I run into anything more serious, and it starts to look a little bit too similar to what I've read already in that book, I'll come back. Pick your brain on it.
And Luigi kind of nods. If you come back and ask me to show you, I will, but I will warn you, Booker. And you can tell all the rest of your friends if they are dealing with this too, that my honest advice is that if you are dealing with an elder evil, it'd be best to take anything that you like and care about and go to the furthest edge of the astral sea that you can make it to, and forget that it's happening.
Booker just solemnly nods. Just once.
And as you nod, you notice just this tiny vial of liquid get poured directly in front of you. And Luigi kind of nods in its direction. Seems like there's a lot on your mind. Thought this might be helpful for you. It'll help you sleep. And essentially, he gives you a potion that will let you sleep undisturbed for 8 hours for a long rest.
Oh, good to know. Booker's gonna take that shit right away.
And as you get up from the bar to head towards your room, that's right about the time that Micken comes stumbling in looking a little... You know, I don't know if you ever had one of these, but those nights where you stayed up a little bit too late at the library studying for some shit in college, and you come back looking like half drunk. You're not drunk, but you look half drunk. That's what Micken looks like.
You look the fucking
Sleep
spent so
deprivation.
long. Yeah, you studied too long and your brain melted a little bit.
Yep.
To bump into Mika and be like, "Oh, buddy, you look like shit. Let's get you to the ship."
I would like that. I think I am very tired.
Just look Mikan up and down, just like assess the damage. You're like, if I didn't know better, I'd say you had a pretty fun evening. But I know better. Pat him on the shoulder. Come on. Maybe someday we'll go to a bar and I can introduce you to someone nice.
I have a fiance.
Yeah, she can come too. Pat him on the back.
Offended. But with that, I believe we are done for tonight.
Hell yeah.
Fun session.
And